Jeff Colvin, what do you mean by the title of your new book, Humans Are Underrated? Is John Henry better than the modern machine?
Well, that's a great question, because John Henry would lose to the modern machine, because the job they were talking about, a steel-driving man, doesn't require much human interaction, right? You're just driving steel into rocks. Well, a machine is going to do that better than a human, as it did with poor John Henry. And machines are going to continue doing stuff that doesn't require any particular human interaction better than humans do it. And so we're seeing a lot of jobs taken over by machines, and we begin to wonder, gee, how are humans going to add value? Well, I say humans are underrated because, in fact, our most essentially deeply human traits, our ability to relate to one another, to empathize and so forth, that's going to actually be the most valuable thing we can bring to work.
Well, in the book you talk a lot about empathy. How valuable is empathy?
It's really the foundation of how we are going to be valuable in the evolving economy. Empathy doesn't just mean feeling someone else's pain. It means looking at someone and discerning what they are thinking or feeling, no matter what it may be, and then responding in some appropriate way. And that's the basis of building a better customer experience, collaborating with others, solving problems, building relationships. It all starts with empathy.
And in the book you talk about human interaction being a very powerful force.
Right.
So LinkedIn and Facebook, they connect us.
Yeah.
But are they increasing that force or decreasing it?
They are actually weakening our ability to connect with one another. And there's a lot of research on this, although maybe we don't need the research. We can all sort of understand it. As people spend more and more time on their devices, communicating, interacting by text, they are losing the ability to interact face-to-face, person-to-person, which is by far the most powerful way for us to connect with one another. Now, these technologies are great for continuing relationships that you already built in the real physical world. But for establishing those relationships, it's not good. And the more time we spend doing this, the less skilled we become at really dealing with one another.
And computers can't tell stories, they can't tell jokes. And you say this is an important thing. It's an important advantage humans have over machines. Why is it so important?
It's important because we are hardwired from our evolutionary past to connect with each other on this basis. In fact, if you really look back on it, human interaction, social skills, equal survival for us. Back millions of years ago when we were out there on the savannah, that's how we survived. If we didn't have those skills, we didn't live. And so even if computers get to the point where they can tell a story, or when they can show emotion on a face that's created of some kind, it still won't matter because we didn't evolve to interact with computers. We evolved to get value and deep reward from interacting with each other.
Robots, machines can kill, however, and we keep hearing stories about killer robots taking over the military. Is this good because it'll save the lives of soldiers, or is it bad because it just raises the level of warfare?
Well, look, these things exist already. I mean, they're being talked about hypothetically, but in fact, some contractors have built these devices already. They do exist. And so the question really is one of these many moral questions that we're going to have to handle as a society. And the trouble is, as so often happens, the bad guys are going to use these things in bad ways, regardless of what we do. And we're going to have to decide how we really want to use them. But I tell you, we've already been using robots, not armed lethal robots. But the United States had 10,000 robots in Iraq being used for reconnaissance and intelligence gathering and bomb defusing and stuff like that. And it's just going to grow.
All right, let's get off the battlefield and back to the workplace. So what should workers do to retrain themselves if they're worried about being replaced by a robot or some machine with artificial intelligence?
Well, the first thing is figure out what kind of job you have now and whether it really requires much human interaction. Because if it doesn't, then that job is probably going away. And Exhibit A is the #1 job among U.S. men, which is truck driver. 2.9 million men drive trucks. Job doesn't require much human interaction. Self-driving trucks are already being tested on the roads in Nevada. That job's probably going away. So the first thing is you want to have a job that actually depends on human interaction, and then you want to face how good you are, whether you can improve. The answer is we can all improve. It's not just an ability we're born with, we can improve it. And then work on getting good at that. And again, it's a skill that can be trained.
Thanks a lot, Jeff Colvin.
My pleasure. Thanks, Greg.
And thank you for watching The Street.